the questions we're asking today on India Today about this so-called tech winter. Number one, why couldn't Google, Microsoft and all of these other big companies carry these employees through these bad times? Aren't they big enough? Aren't they rich enough to do so? Why fire so many thousands? Question number two, if artificial intelligence, which is the new industry buzzword from the tech world now, is a growing area, why not reskill employees instead of firing them? Is that a simplistic question? Am I going in the wrong place? Number three, if AI, artificial intelligence, is the next big thing, won't these same tech firms need to hire en masse again? Then what is the point of firing so many people? Number four, will this tech winter intensify into an all-out layoff blizzard? Meaning, are there more thousands going to be fired in the days, months and weeks ahead? Number five, have tech firms in some way deceived the world on the scope and scale of their abilities? Have they misjudged things so badly that it is finally the most vulnerable among them, their employees, who have to pay the price for bad decisions, and never the management, never the stakeholders, never the investors? It's always the easiest to cut loose. Well, that's a facet of capitalism, but it is hitting very, very hard at this point of time, and we're calling it Tech Winter. Kanishk Gaur is a very well-known technology expert. He joins us live, as does Mohandas Pai. He's co-founder of Aaron Capital. With me also is Abha Bakaya, senior editor with Business Today TV, who's been reporting on this topic for a very long time. Mr. Pai, starting off with you, Tech Winter has become this kind of ominous buzzword that's being thrown about quite a lot. It was mentioned a fair bit at the World Economic Forum in the week gone by as well. You know, literally every couple of days, one is hearing about, you know, thousands upon thousands of firings from the most influential, most powerful tech companies, sir. How are you seeing this?
I think this is a part of the normal discourse of ups and downs in the market. The market goes to boom and bust. There was a boom in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, there's hiring of 30-35% for the last 3 years. And now people anticipate there's a downturn, there's going to be a recession. So they're shedding about 5, 10%, 15% of the people they hired because they believe they are in excess of requirement, looking at revenues for the next 12 months. It's a normal feature. It has happened many times in the past. It will happen many times in the future. This is how people adjust their cost base. Now, please remember, they would have made a profits last year. And I'm sure this year the profits will be much less, even after cutting this cost, because the growth is not there and other costs are going up. So you have to look at it in a very different manner. And this is par for the course. And I think, you know, we should not be surprised that these things happen.
Okay, we shouldn't be surprised, says Mohandas Pai. Abha, what are you hearing from the Indian side? You know, we heard Roshni Nadar Malhotra, Baiju Ravindran, Rishad Premji, many other Indian big business and big tech you know, founders and chairpersons talking about this tech winter, saying they're not too worried about it. What are you hearing? Are there going to be big layoffs here? Do Indian you know, employees in tech firms have reason to worry?
So, Shiv, clearly the consensus, if we speak to a whole host of promoters across some of these tech companies, is that really what is happening is the companies are using this as an opportune time to do a cleanup, which they've been looking to do for a long time. So the question that you asked, do the Googles and Alphabets of the world have enough money? Yes, they do. But they've probably been sitting on, you know, employees that perhaps they no longer need but didn't know how to fire because it's seen as so politically incorrect, and they're using this as a time to get rid of some of the extra fat. Now that's quite significant, the number. I mean, it's a combined 70,000 plus that we're seeing you know, on Wall Street right now, and it's even the smaller tech companies from a Lyft to a Shopify, etc., who are also laying off people. We might see some element of that here as well. As to now what kind of impact this will create, it may not be as bad as some of the past recessionary phases we've seen in the tech industries, because the trend that we've seen in more recent years is that within a few months, they do manage to find work across some of the other tech companies. Yes, cross-skilling has become important, and especially for those that have been groomed at the companies that they were working in, they find better opportunities to then jump ship because they have slightly diverse, you know, skill sets. So is the impact going to be really bad in terms of income and recession? it may not be going down that road, but it's still too early to tell.
Okay, it's still too early to tell, but it may not go down that road, which is, some comfort. Kanishk, how do you see this playing out? One question that many people ask is, all of this is happening at a time when the world feels like it's on the threshold of big things in AI, artificial intelligence, products, services, new revelations from the tech world, and at the same time, so many big layoffs. So, one is worried, consumers are worried about whether that next phase of whatever we're going to get from tech is going to be hampered as a result of this sort of in and out cycle.
See, some of the investments which the big tech had made in the past, which was on metaverse, which was on IoT, which was on connected systems, has not reaped dividends today. If you look at the whole cryptocurrency debate which we had sometime in the past, and we're talking about big investments in cryptocurrency, that has gone dust today. We haven't spoken about the amount of money that was invested in cryptocurrencies and NFTs and the scams that were created, and the big tech were heavily dependent on getting new projects from cryptocurrencies, and we've seen some of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges filing for bankruptcy. So that's another factor apart from the global meltdown which we see, the impact of the war which is happening between Russia and Ukraine. Another aspect is that some of these tech companies created new products and made investments on them which never saw any return on investment. We saw Alexa, which was a premium product, that was not driving much of sales. Similarly, Google's products, which was on hardware, which was on connected systems, did not yield any dividend for them. So companies are today looking at getting more return on investment, specifically with respect to unit cost. That's the key thing. So some of these investments which haven't done well, companies are looking at covering those. We've also seen some of the products on which investments were made earlier. Those products need to show profitability. They need to show that there is growth, and eventually you don't need so many people to support a product. And that's exactly what happened in case of Twitter. That rather than having 7,000 employees, Twitter today needs just 2,300 employees. So that's the evolution which happens in any tech or product company, which has to be understood. Nevertheless, there are other companies which are hiring big time. So in next 2 to 3 months, we would see that some of these people who have lost jobs will look at moving to another sector or getting reskilled. Regarding your question on artificial intelligence, I think it's still early days with respect to AI taking out jobs. We've seen what's happening in case of ChatGPT, but would AI actually take up so much of jobs of people? I think that's going to be something which we'll have to wait out for the future. We have seen big buzzwords coming out using ChatGPT, or Google coming out with another competitor of ChatGPT, or AI, making people reskill. That's going to take some time. I don't think so. A lot of these people who have lost jobs will get reskilled and get deployed elsewhere because of AI.
Okay. Final word to you, Mr. Pai. What would you say to Indian techies right now, looking at all this sort of gloom and doom coming in from big tech? What would you say to them, sir?
Look, just 2 or 3 quarters back, attrition in India in the service companies were 15 to 25%, right? People were leaving companies as if there is no tomorrow, they're going to have a rosy future, right? Even last quarter, December quarter, the attrition was quite high in all the big companies. So what does it show? It still shows there's excess demand. So I would just tell a message to everybody: hang on to your job, work harder, be smart, don't try to jump ship to another company where you feel you're getting more. Wait for 2 or 3 quarters to watch how the industry will readjust. Because I think the Indian software service industry benefits when the market is booming, because there's a lot more to be done. It benefits when the market falls overseas, because they will cut costs. Remember, Salil Parekh also gave an interview that more and more companies are talking about cost takeouts and cutting costs, right? So it will take 2 or 3 quarters for the work to come to India. So India will benefit both ways, because they have a very big competitive services industry. So I would tell people, don't try to jump ship for a new employer with a higher salary. Work with your existing company and ride it out, and later you'll have many more options. So I don't think for the Indian software service industry in India.
Okay, that's a sober but a positive note to end this discussion on. I'm guessing that we're going to be talking a lot more about Tech Winter in the days and the weeks ahead. Kanish Gaur, Mohandas Pai, Abha Bakaya, thank you very much for being with me on this crucial story. This is something that we're going to put our spotlight on more and more in the days and the weeks ahead. Jobs, big tech, this is what affects us all.